Well, hey, how's everyone doing? Hey, you guys, it's good to see you again. Hopefully, you're a returning viewer. If you're not, I'm happy to have you here. You guys, today we're going to be doing part two on the reloading bench, and there's lots to go over, but we're actually going to be making some 45 ACP today, and I've been sitting here just popping out these bullets right here. These are 230 grain, ball rounds that chronograph at about 916 feet per second. 900, 880 to 940 is what I typically get out of these. It's a good stout, kind of a factory load, but it's not a weak load. It's not, I'm not in the 780s or anything. I'm up at 880 to 900, so it's a good load. Now, you guys, I know in my first video I said I'd talk about the powder trickler and get into some more specifics. I think I'm going to save that for part three. In part three, I'll make some precision rifle cartridges. But here in this part two, I want to start on pistol because pistol, especially calibers like 45. I was talking about these bullets the other day. These are from S&S Casting. These are 45 ACP lead balls. They're 230 grains. Uh, Great company. I got 500 of these shipped to my door. Actually, I bought 1,000. I have another box right here. So I got 1,000 of these for like 120 bucks or something shipped. It was, it wasn't bad, you guys. The price was good. So that's the bullet that I'm going to be reloading today. And there's nothing wrong with soft lead. They even give you a wax line there. There's nothing at all wrong with soft lead. A lead ball is a classic bullet. It's going to hit tissue and bone. You get 230 grains of stopping power there. It's a good round. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, you don't want to shoot these through a Glock because of the polygonal rifling. That'll have issues. You can mess up your gun. But a 1911 or any traditional, rifled pistol barrel, you're going to be just fine. And lead is great. You just when you clean your gun, you want to use hops number 9 or you want to use a better solvent to really break down the lead. And you might have to take a bristle brush and go through it, 20 or so times in and out. You do that every 100 rounds or so just to keep lead out of your barrel, but that's no problem. I clean my gun. It's a 3-minute job, you guys. It's not a big deal. So what we're going to do today, you guys, I have 7 rounds of 45 ACP. And I just made all these here in the past 30 minutes. And I figured I'd bring you guys along to do the last 7 here. And I just want to explain the process. So what we're using today, we're using CCI large pistol primers. That's something you're going to have to do, and I'll show you what it is. Often when you reload like this, you're like I said, the whole idea is to keep the cost low. So often you're picking up the brass out at a range. Now, your typical 45 ACP like this one right here, I know it's nickel plated, but it's a typical, that's a large pistol primer. Now this one on the left, that's a small pistol primer. So 45 ACP happens to be one of those calibers where you're gonna you're gonna have to sort your brass to see what primer type you need because some use large pistol and others use small pistol. And if you are set up like here on my turret press here, I'm set up for large pistol right now. And if I try to press a large pistol primer, which is, it's I know that's tiny, but a large pistol primer is still considerably larger than a small pistol primer, and that's going to cause problems. So you have to sort through the brass. But here I have 6 rounds that are all large pistol. And this is exactly how they come out of the gun, you guys. You shoot and they hit the ground like that. I've picked these up. I ran this brass through the dishwasher, dried it in a towel, and that's where we are right here. This brass was in real good shape. It's nickel plated brass. Uh, and oh, this is my second take, you guys. So the camera fell off and I had to. So I've already primed this one. I'll just set it up here for now. So what we're going to do, you guys, we're going to start. At this point, the brass has been washed. It's been dried properly. And now I've sorted it. I have 6 casings with the large pistol primer. Now, generally, I would do this with a batch of 100 or at least 50 to make it worth my time. And that's kind of what we're doing today. We're just completing this box. So I've just decided to bring you guys along for the last. Now, it's not a rifle, so I'm not using reloading trays. I'm not using a powder trickler. Uh, I can kind of bring you guys in to show you something real quick. And this is how I messed up on my first take, so hopefully I don't do it wrong again. Now, if you look right here, this is a powder measure, and this is a very precise tool. And we're zeroed out here, and we're zeroed out here. This will get you within 1/10 of a grain. So if you can't see that just perfect, take my word, the needle is dead on 0. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to rotate you guys. My powder scoop right here, this powder scoop is a RCBS powder throw. I don't know why I was saying scoop, it's a powder throw. And this is just a little Tupperware container. I'm going to go ahead and stick this under here and verify my powder. So I will come up, I come down. I've heard that you want to do that with a military cadence. You know, it's important to get an accurate measurement. Now, it's perfectly zeroed out. That's the first thing you do. You zero your scale. Now I'm going to come off. I'm going to take that load that I just pulled, and I'm going to dump it into this little bowl, and I'm going to tap it. And now I've got everything out of there. There's my powder. I don't know if you can see that, but it's in there. Now we're going to take that, we're going to put it on the scale, and the load that I should have is 5.2 grains. So I don't want to mess with that side. There's 5.2 right there. Now 5.3 is the maximum for a 230 grain ball using HP 38. When you look at the loading data on the can here, they say you can use 5.6. So right here, I'm at 5.3, and I'm perfectly zeroed. So I'm okay with that. They say I can use 5.6, and that's a cast. That's a cast bullet. Well, these are pretty much cast lead as well. So I was on Hodgkin's website when I got the 5.2 load. But you see my fan, I have a fan on. This scale is so precise. I even have to shut the central air ducts because this sand, you could drop a piece of sand on this scale and it's going to move. It's a very precise scale. But 5.3 is actually where I was at. It wasn't 5.2. 5.2 was the previous load. I've loaded all these that I made today at 5.3. So that's fine. I'm in spec. I could go up to 5.6. I'll save that for some other venture. I know my velocity is about 880 to 920 with this load. So that's where we're going to stay today. So now that I've verified that my powder throw is putting out the proper powder, now I'm going to come back to 0, and I'm going to take this powder and I'm going to pour it back in my hopper up here. And then this scale should zero out again. Now there's nothing in it. And then I know that it's accurate. And it sure is. It just lined up perfectly on 0 again. So now I'm going to kind of move you guys back just a little bit. I just wanted to show that to you. All right. And now we're going to continue on with the loading process here. So we have our brass. We've set our dies, verified our powder charge, looked at the load data. I have it set up properly. You shoot your brass. I'm just going to go through it. This is how easy it is. You wash it. Then you take this little Lyman tool right here. You're going to go ahead, you're going to get in the inside, and that's what you're doing is you're chamfering, you're just deburring the inside of that case because you're going to end up seating a bullet there. So I just got to do that to all 6 of them. Now this brass is in really good shape. That's fine. My elbow hit my number 3 pool ball that I have on the end of my That would have been bad if I had had it lined up on the powder measure because there's a plastic piece down here. But it's fine if it falls into the die, that's just fine. I keep that thing lubed up well. So I'm just doing that to each casing, you know, holding it as tight as I can, and I'm just making it. This is where when I seat a new bullet, it's going to go in smooth. And it's best to take these and just kind of tap them on the table when you finish, you know, get all the brass out of them. I only have 2 more to do here. You don't want to go a whole lot. You're not trying to sharpen it like a knife. You're just deburring it. You know, you don't want it to grip the lead when you're trying to seat a bullet. 1 more to go. And typically, you know, you guys, I'd have 100 of these or more, and I'd sit here and I'd go through all 100, and it might take me 20 or 30 minutes, you know, if I'm taking my time. But now we got them at that stage. Now I could go back and I could do the outer rim too, and that's what this device does. It does the outer rim too, and that's good to do that. You know, this is kind of one of some of my better brass. It's the nickel plated. It's the stuff I really like. It's easier to find, honestly. I can see the stuff shining on the ground from a ways back. So I'll go ahead and do the outside of these. 2 more to go. And this just ensures that it feeds into the gun nice and smooth. You know, you're just removing any sharpness in that material just by going over it like that. You can hear it working. It has a slight, you know, chalkboard sound. Now at this stage, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to bring my boom down. I'm going to swing over to my size die and my decapping die, and if I put it in there, I could just go for it. But wait, what do we need to do? Case lube. If you forget this stuff and you get a shell stuck in there, you're probably not going to get a shell stuck with 45 unless it was just dirty. But with 30-06 or 30-30 or 308 or something, you get a shell stuck in there and it pulls the neck right off when you try to come down. Then you're sitting there with pliers and trying to get that out of there, trying to think of a way to pound it out from. It's a big mess. So case lube's important, you guys. And typically, I have a method of doing this, but since I only have I only have 6 pieces of brass today, I'm just gonna take some and put it right on my hand. Now, this is isopropyl alcohol with a little castor oil in it. Typically, I'd spray it in a plastic bag and I'd shake up about 100 of them. The bad thing about doing that is typically you'll get a little bit of lube on the inside of the case. And you don't want too much because if this stuff was too thick, it could interfere with the new primer. I mean, you'd shake it up in a bag and then you'd pour it out and you'd let it sit for 2 minutes and you'd let the alcohol dissolve, and then it's just left with a slight coating of oil. But since there was only 6 of them, I was able to do that real quick. And that alcohol, it's already evaporated off my hands, and I just feel a little bit of the oil. It's not a bad oil. So, and that there was made from 99% isopropyl alcohol. In this case, I used ISO heat, a fuel treatment product, and I poured in 1/10 part castor oil and 9 parts isopropyl heat. And I've shaken it up, and it'll last for thousands of rounds. And that was like $5, $6 to make. So now we're going to take our casing and we put it in the boom here. I'm going to come up. Now we're already right in position. We're going right in. I just heard the old primer pop out, and I'm going to verify. It popped out the old primer. Now, in normal process, you'd come up. Now I'm going to take a large pistol primer. I'm going to put it in this little cap. These are CCI large pistol primers. And now I'm going to seat it down onto it. And right there, I just seated the primer. So now we have a new primer in the back of that case. Now normally I wouldn't even take the case off. It would be same position. Now I'm going to come over to my powder. I come up, throw my powder, and once again I'm going to pull it off so you can see there should be powder in that casing now. I don't want any to spill out, but I can see it. It's in there. Here, if I grab a flashlight, maybe I can show you guys a little bit better. But there is gunpowder in there. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that back in there. I don't feel like if some blew out, I don't want to have a half charge. So let me do that again. I like to rotate it. That kind of settles it. Okay, so now I have a charge in there. Now I take my bullet and I seat it on top, and this is why we use this little tool, because now we rotate to our seating die, and I'm coming up, and then just like that, we have a 45 ACP. Not hard to do at all. And you guys, my total cost on this, because I found the brass, I have about 12 cents in the bullet, I have about 2 cents in the powder, and I have about 10 cents in the primer. So I have about 24 cents in this bullet. That's getting 45 for a quarter a shot. That's a very good price, you guys. And it's so easy just to repeat this process, and I'll show you. I'll start getting after it here. Grab my primer. I heard the old one pop out. Seat the primer. Load the powder. Get your bullet. There's another. Start getting after it. I have my primers just in this tray right now, which is just fine. I only had pulled a few just to do these 6. And I just examine the cases. You get a rhythm here. You get used to this thing. And more important, you learn how every part of it feels. You know if there's a problem. And you know it's just a little system here. So there we go. I've already made 4 now. I put the first one back in the box. Here's number 5. Sometimes you have to help it find its way. I saw the old primer pop out. Put a new primer in. Powder. Bullet. Don't forget your powder. You have a system that you stay with. Here's the last one already. Just popped out the old primer. Put it up. Prime it. Powder. And just like that, there's those 5 rounds. And here was the first one. There was the first one we made. And with that, I have now completed this box with 1 extra round. So it's not hard, you guys. I mean, you saw me make 6, and that was very quick. Now I have a little bit of experience with this thing, but this is cost effective because let me just pull out my calculator real quick. I have 24 cents in a round. That's what I've concluded. Heck, we'll just say 25. So 0.25 cents a shot. Now we're going to times 50. That costed me $12.50 to make those 50 rounds. It would actually be $12.75 with this extra, but you get the point. It's cheap. Now, if I was to go to the store and buy a box of 45 ACP, I was in an ammo shop 2 weeks ago, and the guy had some vintage ammo that came in, a local shop, and he wanted $42 a box. And I asked him, I said, hey, would you, if I bought all 5, he had 5 boxes. I said, if I bought all 5, would you take 35 bucks a box? Yeah, he's like, I don't think I can do that. Yeah, now I'm actually glad he didn't take me up on that offer. I mean, it's in about 2 hours, I'm pretty sure I could make probably 200 rounds. Now I'd be tired. I'd want to sit down and do something else, but. More realistically, it'd take me about 2 hours and 30 minutes. But to do it, you know, but yeah, if it's worth your time, the savings are there. You're getting ammo at like a third of the price or better. So I just wanted to bring you guys along and show you this process today. And I think next time I'll use the scale and I'll use my loading trays and we'll use this trickler and we'll make some 308s. Now I just noticed I have one charged casing up here. This actually is my second take, you guys. The camera fell off the first time. So I'm going to go ahead and load this last one real quick. There we went. Punched out the old primer. New primer. Powder. And bullet. There it is. Good looking bullet. And these shoot real good, you guys. I chronoed them with 5.3 or 5.2 grains. They're saying here that 5.6 chronos at 914. Last time I shot these, I had 5.2 and I was getting somewhere between 880 and 920. And you know, it felt like a strong load. I mean, it didn't feel weak at all. So just something to think about, you guys. Now, before I conclude this video, I have one passage of scripture that I'd like to share with everyone today. And here, let me rotate you back a little bit. And I have my New American Standard Bible here, and we're going to go ahead and take a look. Please stick around. This is going to come from the book of Colossians. This is a very powerful scripture, you guys. I'm going to start in chapter 1, verse 13. For he rescued us from the domain of darkness and transferred us to the kingdom of his beloved Son, in whom we have redemption, the forgiveness of sins. He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation, for by him all things were created, both in the heavens and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authority. All things have been created through him and for him. He before all things, and in him all things hold together. He is also head of the body, the church. He is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, so that he himself will come to have first place in everything. For it was the Father's good pleasure for all the fullness to dwell in him, and through him to reconcile all things to himself, having made peace through the body of his cross, through him. I say, whatever things on earth, or things in heaven, and although you were formerly alienated and hostile in mind, engaged in evil deeds, yet he has now reconciled you in his fleshly body, through death, in order to present you before him holy and blameless and beyond reproach, if indeed you continue in the faith firmly established and steadfast, and not moved away from the hope of the gospel that you have heard, which was proclaimed in all creation under heaven, and of which I, Paul, was made a minister. That's a powerful section, you guys. That's in First Colossians. There's so much I could talk about there, but I'm just going to let it sit. That's a powerful reading. And well, you guys, if you have any questions at all, uh, I got this little case lube formula off another YouTuber. He's a nice man. I forgot the name of his channel, but it's been excellent. I couldn't find 99% isopropyl alcohol at my local Walmart, so they had the ISO heat, and that works just fine. The other additives that were in that fuel cleaner or whatever it was some type of anti-rust, or it was stuff to protect engine parts, or I think it was 99% with 1% other stuff. I don't know the exact formula because they don't give it to you on the bottle, but with the castor oil, it mixes well, it works just fine. So if you can't find the 99%, pick that up. Uh, Try not to use too much. You really want to keep that away from your primers. Now, I've made over probably 2,000 rounds now, you guys, of 38s, 45s, 223. I got a lot of 223. I have not had one primer fail to ignite, but I don't use it too liberal. I just use enough. I can feel it on my hands still. It's not sticky, but it's there. It actually kind of softens your hands. And there's kind of a joke, you guys. When I was picking up that castor oil, I walk in Walmart and I'm asking for it because I heard it was there, and the sales associate in that department had no idea what I was talking about. And this older Chinese lady walks up, "Oh, I know what that is. I use that." And well, anyways, it was a laxative, and I didn't know that. So but I sure am glad. Yeah, here's this guy looking for castor oil. I don't know what they thought of me, but it's pretty funny. So but yeah, you guys, I got two presses here. This other one behind it, this is the single stage press. I use that for a rifle because often, you're torquing a rifle a little bit harder. When you're first sizing that case, it takes a little more strength. But these presses, a single press Lyman like this, 70 bucks on eBay. A turret press like this, 120, 130 on eBay. You can still find this stuff, you guys. It's very cost effective. Primers, you know, you can find it. Ammo Seek, they have reloading sections. I'm giving away my secrets. I care about you guys. Here recently, I just got on there and I'd purchased, I only have two of them here, but I purchased 4,000 rounds of these Argentine primers, and they've been 100%. They have an ISO certification, so good stuff. If you're curious how much I've reloaded here in the past few weeks, here's just the primers that I pulled out of shells. So I've been busy, and I think part three is coming soon, but I picked up a new rifle, you guys, and I might even make another video tonight. I have a rifle that I want to show y'all. I'm real excited about it. It's in a 6 millimeter caliber, so it's exciting to me because this is one of those rifles that I'll be able to load it up to put a projectile at 4,000 feet per second. So I'm real excited for this gun in the future. It's going to be a hot little round. Well, y'all take care. Tune in for the next video. Yeah, and y'all have a blessed day. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this off now and take care, everyone. Stay blessed.